What's going on, everyone? My name is William Wofford here with Truckers Delights. Here is our skeleton crew for today with me and Keith Shovlin. How you doing, Keith?
All right, William, how you doing tonight?
Good. Basically, we're on night shift on the battle bridge while everyone else is asleep. They got stuff to do. We got to hold it down up until February 16th, which I actually enjoy February 16th because that's the day after my birthday, which is the
Oh,
day after Valentine's Day. So yeah, my birthday is February 15th. So it's
you're
it's like a
you're like the third person I know who has February 15th as a birthday.
I love the I even I'm very thank the only downside to being born on February 15th is like everyone is just getting out of bed from Valentine's Day and they're still
Well,
making it about them. But I get all the candy that's on sale. So
well, my girlfriend's birthday is February 14th, so it's very
oh,
easy to remember, which is very
oh,
convenient. But
oh yeah.
I had two really good friends from college who were both born on February 15th, and both born February 15th the same year, which was
Really?
surprising. And both also took many years to graduate college. So,
Oh, it actually took me a bit to graduate college too. Like,
okay.
well, I was a double major, so it
Uh,
took a minute. Yeah. But
okay.
actually, it just took one more year. That's all it did. But, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage as Marie would like me to do so much. And here we go. Three, two, and boom. Okay, so we got 3 weeks, 3 weeks until the big day. Which to me, because I am a great fan of all defense. I'm by card to the T. So to me, this is like a gift. It's just like, oh, this is gonna be nice. Like I'm not doing. The only thing I'm gonna be doing is probably rewatching season over and over like 5 times, and then all 10 of us will on here on, and I'm gonna be like, where the hell y'all been? Where you been? Where in Sam Hill Hoonigan have y'all been? I done played as a slave, been kicked out. I almost lost my. You did all this. Where y'all been? We've been holding the show down, like bruh. And now you here because Picard here after y'all got done talk shit about Picard. Like now, go come back with Strange New Worlds because you're strange. Y'all anyway. Tell me, any new comics come out in the last week?
Well, yeah, Strange New Worlds, the Illyrian Enigma issue number 2 came out yesterday. So,
Okay,
so that's
that's what's
the next one in I think it's a 5-part series.
a
And
five
then
part.
last week we got Star Trek Resurgence issue number 3 came out. So
Oh,
that's also a 5-part series. And they made a couple announcements that there will be a Return to Deep Space Nine, a special Deep Space Nine series called Dog of War.
okay.
And then the main Star Trek series will return to Deep Space Nine, and that will be the launching point for the new war series, Star Trek Defiant.
Star Trek Defiant. So they basically couldn't get every so they had to settle for the comic series.
Yeah, well, what's the good thing about the comic series is you don't need to anyone's permission, and you don't need to schedule them, and you don't need to record voice talent or do any post production work.
So is this A canon or B canon the comics are?
Technically, it's B canon, but in the case of like the Picard series that they did a couple months ago, the Star Trek Picard Stargazer, it's supposed to perfectly line up with the end of season two into going into season three. And then the previous Picard series that they did actually introduces how he meets the band and Laris. So perfectly sets up season one of Picard. So that is actually A. But I imagine that the current Cisco-led Star Trek mainline is still considered B canon.
Okay.
But I have to think Strange New Worlds, Illyrian Enigma is A canon because it picks up exactly where season one of Strange New Worlds ends.
Oh wow.
And it's been a
Yes,
very interesting read.
this is their version of short treks, huh?
Yeah. Well, this is a case of IDW having the rights, having the contract, and running with it, doing everything they can with it.
Oh yes.
And it's fantastic.
Okay. So you said that you've done a reach of Strange New World and Prodigy, and I think we talked about a little about it last Thursday.
Yeah,
Um,
we definitely. I had finished Prodigy before we recorded last week, and this week I've now completed Strange New Worlds as well. So.
so what's your goals right now, and how do you feel connect with the strike? Because I heard that we're supposed to get a connection between Lower Decks in the next season.
Yeah, there was actually an interview in SFX magazine included part of their wide-ranging interviews with the cast. They talked to Jonathan Frakes, and
Mm-hmm.
he said that he knows a little bit about the crossover episode between Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks. And he said, I don't know much about it, but I can tell you this much. It's really, really funny. He's,
So they're going
he
to have
said
an
that,
accident. It sounds like an
yeah.
accident. Okay.
Well, as he put, he says, Lower Decks, they have the opportunity to approach everything through that lens of humor, and they really take chances with it and go with it. Then there's Strange New Worlds, who wanted to get back to the core of what Star Trek was, also took some very interesting chances, and they've all worked out for them.
Right.
And so this is just these two shows kind of combining forces. Now, it is going to be interesting to try to see how it figures out because, as we know, Lower Decks takes place post Nemesis,
Mm-hmm.
while Strange New Worlds is obviously pre-original series. So you're talking about 130 years in between them there.
Maybe they're
So,
gonna maybe they're gonna tease them again and put the um Chris Pike's crew on the holodeck on the ship, and then kind of tease the way they ended. And
oh, what they you know what? If anyone could, if it was a regular Lower Decks episode, I would say yes. I would definitely imagine seeing Lower Decks them doing a "These Are the Voyages" ripoff.
yeah, because
But
honestly,
but
I could see them doing that. Yeah,
but the fact that it's a Strange New Worlds episode that's going to have them cross over,
that means we're gonna be dealing with some time travel.
yeah,
I
that's the
mean,
only thing that makes sense about it. Yeah,
every other episode, someone is going somewhere.
true, true.
Like it's
Yeah.
just like, dang, you waited 30 seconds out.
All right.
I
Am
was
I running a little bit slow here, or are you running a bit slow? Because there's a slight. Am I
yeah,
coming in clearly for you?
over on my end, you seem to be running just fine.
Okay. Okay.
It's
Well, sorry,
yeah,
sorry to everyone if there are any kinds of delays or anything. We're doing the best we can.
yeah.
Like William said, we are the skeleton crew. As the term goes, we're doing yeoman's work here, keeping the trains of Trekkers Delight running. And
Yeah, yeah, as just like as we're going through the void, like right now, while Janeway is in her quarters, and I'm Chakotay, checking on her every now and then, just yeah.
I did watch that episode this past week. Uh,
Oh God, I hope he doesn't see that. Oh, anyway, no, honestly, I would get very eerie if I were placed in that situation. I really would. like because it's just like a total vast of not. You're already in space. You're already in the middle of fuck nowhere. You're already there. So just imagine being in this big black blob, and there isn't another gas station for hundreds of miles.
Okay, all right, that's a different one that I'm thinking of. I was thinking of the one where Janeway and Chakotay were stuck on the planet alone, thinking that Voyager had to. They were infected, and Voyager left them
Oh no,
behind.
that's when they fell in love,
Yeah.
which I still say they should have continued with that storyline after they got home. But apparently they didn't. They just turned out to be like best friends, best colleagues, or something like that. You know?
Well, Janeway played the very thing of, I can't be the captain in the relationship, and just
Yeah,
like Kirk wouldn't be in a relationship because to him his true love was the Enterprise. Uh,
yeah. That was
Picard tried being in a relationship, and it didn't go too well.
well. At least now we know why. After what we've learned in season two, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
He has attachment or
the fear of losing, yeah, yeah.
the fear of
And,
losing. Yeah.
and he almost lost Nella Darren in Liaisons, that episode of Next Generation. So that makes perfect sense when you consider why he kept Beverly at a distance, why he kept others, Vash and others, at a distance.
Right. Which I hope to God we see Vash. I really do. I loved her. I loved her
You know
much.
what? That is one of those names that hasn't come up, that I haven't heard as a possibility of coming back. But that would be fantastic if she
I
were to
mean, I
make a
wonder
return.
I wonder if it's possible to look up the cast for season 3, but I
Oh, they
don't
wouldn't
know.
release that up ahead of time. Definitely
Okay.
not.
Oh man, because I want to see Rolarin again. I want to see. We already know we're gonna see Denise Crosby. We're gonna see her.
Yeah,
Like,
in some way. They said not Sela, but she will be in it in some
oh
way.
yeah. Oh, Sela's gone. Like,
Well, Sela's still out there somewhere. We just don't
Sela
know
is
where.
Sela is kicking boots with the intendant right now. We ain't gonna see either of them again.
Yeah, that would be something to see.
That would be, I ain't gonna lie, that would be. I expected when I saw the original, not the original trailer, but like the second trailer for Picard, that it would be like all of the major bad guys from TNG coming together one more time and basically doing some, you know what they do in DC shows where they're all the bad,
Oh
it was,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
the Sinister Six, but yeah, all the villains coming together.
all the villains come together. And I'm going like, that's a cheesy ass storyline, but I would watch it because I want to see how they do it.
Well, yeah, they did that on the 1960s Batman all the time, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely something you would think is highly possible of happening.
Because
Uh,
you had what's her
Jennifer
name?
Hetrick, that's the actress who played Vash. Sorry about
Uh-huh.
that.
Right. But instead we're getting a new villain
Yeah,
who apparently is set on revenge for some reason.
played by Amanda Plummer, daughter of Christopher Plummer, who was of course, the villain General Chang in Star Trek Six: The Undiscovered Country.
Yes, which is a Trek tradition to normally keep things in the family,
Yeah,
almost.
except of course she's not a Klingon unless she
Unless
was a Klingon, and
he was a Klingon, and because a Klingons age a long time, you
yeah,
know.
well, not as clear as Vulcans, but yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Yeah, not as long as Vulcans. You're right. But yeah, it's I really want to know. And it kind of occurred to me as I was watching the trailer over and over again. They
Mhm.
said that when they brought back
The teaser, to be correct, that was
right,
the
the teaser,
teaser that we saw
right,
so
the
far.
teaser. So when I saw the teaser and we saw at the very not the very end, but the second to the end, where we saw M come back, with
Moriarty, yeah.
yeah, to me he'll always be Niles from the nanny. Like it's
Mhm.
just like, but anyway, when I saw him, I was like, okay, I'm going to assume because they say the same Moriarty that we know.
Mhm.
Um, so my
Well,
thing, they probably kept the program, and by this point, you can have holograms walk around and do whatever you want. Like by this point, like what we've learned
yeah,
from after post Voyager, I mean post
mm,
Voyager.
true, yes.
So that said, what if this is like a more evolved version and they just happen to have the program and then this guy is just like stopping the other bad guys from taking over the Titan and he comes up and he said, "Greetings, old friends," and stops them from going to the bridge. Like, I ain't gonna lie, that's some cool shit.
I'm going to be actually pretty disappointed if he ends up being just like a quick joke, 30 seconds, and
I
he
I
pops up, but he's not really there. I mean, it's not really Moriarty.
I hope that they do something to where they give us like closure to his storyline because when I watched the interview with him,
Mhm.
they said that they literally just flew him. They filmed for 1 day, not even a day, and then they wouldn't even let him take the suit. But
Oh no, that was not a cheap suit. I mean,
yeah, it's not a cheap suit, and they tailored it to him. And I'm
hmm,
going like, if you're gonna tailor it to him, give him the damn suit.
you could tailor it to someone else. I mean, come on. Well, that was the sad thing of the Next Generation. When they made Elementary Dear Data, they thought that they could bring him back and have him multiple times, and no one bothered to check to see about the copyright issues of using Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's work again and again. And
Again
it
and again
wasn't
and again.
and it wasn't until season 6 Ship in a Bottle that they were finally able to resolve those issues in order to bring the character back.
Right, right, exactly. So I actually had another question.
While you think about that, just a quick reminder, we were talking about it before we started, but
Yeah,
we have had the teaser for Picard season 3. That
yeah,
was 4 months ago
that
on
was
Star
4
Trek.
months ago.
Now, this past Sunday, in one of the ads in one of the divisional round football games, NFL football games, they had a commercial interspersed with clips from NFL games that showed a few additional seconds of the show that we have not yet seen, including uh, Riker saying to Picard that it has to end sometime.
I mean, yeah, I mean, because we gotta get our closure, we
Right.
gotta.
But that teased that there would be a full trailer the premiering during the AFC Championship game this coming Sunday, Kansas City Chiefs versus the Cincinnati Bengals. And Paramount/CBS owns the right to AFC games, so AFC Championship game will be broadcast live on Paramount Plus. So
Mm,
that's why the trailer is being released as part of the game. This is their cunning ploy to get Star Trek fans to watch football.
I'm not watching football, but I will wait until after the trailer is
Oh yeah,
released.
just wait for the trailer to be out, and within 10 minutes of it being released, it'll be on
Boom.
YouTube as well
Yeah.
as on the Paramount Plus app and channel and everything. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Then we'll share it in the group. We'll all scream, and I guarantee we're gonna get at least 2 more people next Thursday.
yeah, what we know now is we have the Titan A, which is
Yeah.
a new version of the Constitution class.
Right.
We've
Neo.
got the Enterprise F, which is Odyssey class coming from Star Trek Online. And they are now leaning into the idea that the Enterprise E was destroyed by the living construct in as we saw at the end of Prodigy season 1.
Because it's just like because I was wondering, is that the Enterprise? Because on the side it says it's the Enterprise, but in the front it says it's the Sovereign class. But we saw like 7 Sovereign classes, so it was either that or was it destroyed by species 8472 and B canon that we know of?
Yeah,
Like,
but remember Data was the captain of that ship in B canon, so
right, right, right. Because I
uh
was I was
whereas
really
we know in A canon Worf was the captain of the ship when it was got destroyed.
oh, Worf was the captain. I
Yeah.
thought it became ambassador.
Well, that has been now explained in the comics
So what
that
happened in the comics? What happened?
okay, in the current running Star Trek series,
Mhm.
with Cisco as the lead. This was issue 2 that came out uh, in December. Yeah, I think it
Hello,
was either December or November. You see
hello,
them.
hello, pink skin.
Hey, Manny. Uh,
All right, go on.
you have them going to Kronos and dealing with an issue with uh, um, Kalis 2 has kind of taken over more control of the Empire, and
Oh,
finally, like Worf has had enough being an ambassador, so he joins Cisco's crew and gets back into Starfleet. And of course, this is supposed to lead into the Defiant series. But
okay.
if you read The Last Best Hope, the novel that leads into season 1 of Picard,
Mhm.
it has in the meeting with Starfleet when Picard is being promoted to admiral and being put in charge of saving the Romulans. They ask about who is to take over the Enterprise, and he suggests his first officer, Worf.
Because Riker had gone off to captain the Titan.
Riker went off to the Titan, and Data was dead. So he had Worf come in to be his first officer, and he even defended him over what happened with Jadzia in that episode,
Right,
sixth season
because
episode Deep Space Nine.
said that he would never be captain again, but
Yeah,
Picard using his pull got him his captaincy.
yeah.
Okay.
So based off of Last Best Hope, which is considered a canon, we are to surmise that Worf was the captain of the Enterprise E when it was heavily damaged, if not destroyed, by the living construct in the battle that we saw in Prodigy Season 1 Supernova.
I ain't gonna lie. That kind of hurt.
Yeah, I can understand. Well, considering when you saw so many ships in that were survivors of the Battle of Sector 001 from Star Trek First Contact, they survived fighting the Borg, only to be taken out by this living construct several years later.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's just like you could have gone out in a blaze of glory. Like
Well, it was a sort of blaze of glory.
it
It's just
was
it was your
literally
own ships firing on each
yeah, I
other.
mean, like you literally destroyed each other. It's just like it still hurts my feelings because it's just like you went because Janeway kind of said it best: the Sona, the Borg, the Romulans. You seem to get all the easy assignments, like, and I'm like, and you get destroyed by a virus. That is so Independence Day, like.
Yeah. Yep.
That is so independent.
Yeah.
It's not, but I ain't gonna lie to you. That's a better plot than some kid crying so loud that he destroys half the galaxy and causing the burn. I'm still mad about that. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like
Well, no, it's not so loud he was crying so loud. It was that he was a baby born on a planet filled with dilithium, and he, by being part of it, he got in tune with it. But yeah, I know the burn doesn't make complete sense.
I was kind of hoping that it was like a Romulan experiment gone wrong, but then you wouldn't have Navarre. I was thinking like it was something like something from the Cold War, something like.
Well, I'm just glad it wasn't when some people were saying when they first saw in the first trailer where they mentioned the burn, and they go, and I saw a lot of people going, "Wait a minute, the burn, Michael Burnham, the burn, she's the one that caused it."
I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know.
Unfortunately, that was. I keep seeing this every once in a while. People just going off on her, calling her a Mary Sue, saying that how come she's gets all this attention. You know, she's the star of the show. But I mean, yeah. Why else would you make her, put so much attention into her when, she's the lead? Silly thing.
Speaking of leads, I won't lie to you. Before the previous captain, what was his name? I just know him as Hook and Lucius Malfoy.
Jason Isaacs.
Yes. So when he died, I thought that he was reduced to like a kind of like a small atom spore blue thing, because when I saw him disintegrate, he didn't really completely disintegrate. There was like a blue speck that was left, and that blue speck ended up being in Tilly.
No, you're mixing things up.
So like, go ahead and
Sorry.
So
no, you're confusing things. No, he died from they opened the floor of the Charon, and he fell into the mycelial, star that was at the center of the Charon, and disintegrated into that. Now, when they were trying to get out of the mirror universe and back into,
they were trying to go back,
trying to get them back in. There was the mycelial spores that exploded in the chamber and then through the room, and a piece of that landed on Tilly. It was a mirror universe mycelial spore, but it had nothing to do with I am blanking on his name. Oh, Lorca, Gabriel Lorca.
Okay, because I thought it was Lorca that just found a way to just
no, because as we ended up finding out, that was May. That was the May of the Jessup, and
because I really forgot, because I watched that, and I think there was like a short treks in between or something, or
no, I mean
there was something.
Well, there was a short trek, but that had to do with Poe.
Okay.
Mehele Poe, the leader of the I can remember her name, but I can't remember Zahians. The Zahians, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll get there eventually.
I know, because honestly, I'm still at the point where I'm like, I still don't know half the main cast names. Like, I don't. Like, it's just I know everyone on Picard.
Well, you did. Half the cast left after last season.
I know, right? I did. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah, yeah, anyway. Like,
Oh,
well, okay, because I really am excited that Seven and Rafi are gonna be back. So I'm hoping that there's Manny. He's going to work. Here he comes.
hey, Manny.
Hey
Hey,
guys,
hey,
I'm
go
listening to
for
you guys. I'm loving the conversation. I learned so much when you
it.
guys get on the mic. It's so good. I love the questions, William. I love the answers, Keith. I love all that stuff. Thank you so much for teaching me a little bit about that, because the minutia of the ships and who did what and whatever, it matters. I haven't gone back to read those comics, so hearing your exposition, hearing your summary is very like useful. Knowing that Worf was in the mix and stuff like that, but again, it gives we're getting Picard in 3 weeks,
Yep.
right? Like
21 days exactly.
So I kind of want to know about it before I get to it, right? How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
We're
Well,
doing
yeah,
great.
yeah, you need to check out, if you're looking at comics, you got to go with the special Picard Stargazer series. It was a 3-issue run that just covered the base story is it starts with Seven basically failing the Kobayashi Maru, and
Awesome.
Picard's new improved Kobayashi Maru, and failing out of the academy, and then going back to the Rangers, and then Picard being brought in on the Stargazer, which is now being captained by an Andorian, and having to deal with the Romulans on this planet,
Okay.
right on the border, and that's how Seven ends up getting back into Starfleet. Is they cross paths there, and so that leads to her becoming Commander Seven or Commander Hansen of the Titan A.
I liked what you were saying about the burn, and
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So that people were like, "Oh, bring back Prime Lorca." We didn't even get a chance to see him or whatever. Like,
I think
give
he's
Discovery.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the ship he was on, all hands were lost except him. But we found out because it wasn't except him; it was because it was mirror him. The real Lorca
Right.
is gone, just like the mirror Tilly was killed by Klingons. I mean, the mirror Discovery got brought into Prime Universe and got destroyed by the Klingons. So it shows how tough the mirror were.
Wait a minute. So the mirror. So wait a minute. Whoa. You mean to tell me that the mirror Discovery ended up in the Prime universe, and I didn't, and I'm just now knowing about it?
Yeah,
I didn't know that either.
That was part of it in season 1 of Discovery. When
They
the
talked too much
Prime
and didn't do enough development. So I need you to.
No, they said it all. They said it all. Prime Disco made it clear that when they went to the Mirror Universe, they swapped with Mirror Discovery. And when they returned, the Admiral said that Discovery was destroyed 6 months ago. We saw the wreckage. In other words, Mirror Discovery came over, got attacked by the Klingons, and got pulverized.
Let me get this right. We got Terrans that are pretty much the Klingons from the Mirror Universe got their asses handed to by Prime Klingons.
Yep. And not even the top Prime Klingons. Cole was dead. This was the second. This was like the junior houses at that point.
Wait a minute. So not only did Lorca get here by accident, he accidentally triggered the other Discovery to get to that universe.
Oh yeah, he did that on purpose. He was using the spore drive because he knew of Mirror Stamets' work with spores with the mycelial network.
Interesting.
Right.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah,
yes.
he brought all the pieces together. He worked together. Yes. He got put in charge of Discovery. He brought Stamets together. He brought in Burnham. He brought all the pieces together, including Tilly. He got the people he needed to make that work, to use that as a way to jump into the Mirror Universe.
Wait. Yes. How did he get there in the first place, though?
Was it the Baroon?
Something happened.
No, I'm trying to remember the name of his ship. I think it was the Baroon or something like that.
Wow, that you know that. Wow, that you know that.
But they flew into an ion storm just like the original Enterprise in Mirror Mirror, it was an ion storm that hit them and the planet when they had the crossover with the transporters, bringing the mirror version of the crew over to the Prime.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was an accident.
Of course, just like how we first had it in Mirror Mirror, and just like, well, the first time DS9 crossed over with the Mirror Universe.
Yeah.
Right. He crossed over by accident due to a different ion storm that we,
of course, yeah,
probably the same ion storm the Enterprise flies into 50 years later.
15.
My bad. 15.
Yeah.
And so that said, he spends the next year or two to try and get back. And in order to get back, he gets himself on Discovery. And then once he makes the flip, he pulls the other Discovery into the Prime.
Well,
how did he make that?
It's kind of a rule of the universe of they did this only in the original series and Discovery. It had to be a 1-to-1 swap.
They had to happen at the same time.
Did either of you guys watch Man in the High Castle on Amazon when it was out?
I briefly saw a bit of the first season.
Okay. Well, based off the Philip K. Dick novel, or novella, really, at the end of the first season, they introduced the idea of being able to do that you're able to move into alternate dimensions. And in the case of at the end of the first season, the one character is able to, by his own mind, he sits down and goes into a meditation, and then looks up and he's in our universe, 1962, instead of in the High Castle universe. And then throughout the following seasons, you had several crossovers. One in which they found a tunnel in Pennsylvania that they were able to send people over. But the key to someone going into the alternate universe was either they had to swap with the person that was already there, or that person had to be no longer living in that universe in order to cross over. So at least that was the way it was the conservation of mass. The same mass can't take two separate places in the same universe. So the way they did it in the Mirror and then again in Discovery was that you had the 1-for-1. The people that crossed over into the Mirror universe and Mirror are the same people that came over into the Prime universe.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, Scotty, Uhura, Kirk, and McCoy. In Discovery, the Discovery went over, and the Mirror Discovery came back. It's only the Deep Space Nine Mirror Universe episodes where it doesn't quite make sense. That's how you're able to have two Kiras in the universe at the same time.
Okay. None of it actually makes sense, but yes, it's
no, it does definitely does not.
That's why it's called sci-fi.
Right. I'm trying to remember the name of the series, the X-Files series. Not the X-Files, but the the one that had Walter Bishop.
That show's in trouble now, Rick and Morty.
Yeah, because the dude got charged with assault or something.
Domestic violence against his girlfriend, and he has now been let go by both Cartoon Network and Hulu.
Brutal.
And he voices both of them, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So he got charged, but did they have the trial yet? Did he get?
Oh, of course not. No, but the allegations were out there, and both networks were asked to respond, and they went to him about it, and it made it seem like they did their own investigation, and they decided to cut ties with the guy, which makes you believe that they're true. But he hasn't had a trial. We don't know any details.
I think if he has a trial and he's like I think it's the optics. Like in that case, it's like okay, he can't be seen. Yeah.
In this post Me Too world, it's better to cut ties and forgive and forget later rather than stand with him and have to take on all of that as well.
I mean, they did the same thing with Johnny Depp, and now he's worth a lot more. Like now he's expensive. Like
but some serious mistakes were made during that, and as evidenced by Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore.
I never watched past the second one. I only watched the first one.
So
Yeah.
You can settle on the first Fantastic Beast, but after that,
Yeah.
just don't get your heart broken.
No, I
Like,
never saw past it because it just had such terrible reviews. I'm like, what do you know, like you just the soft reviews. I'm like, it's not the same movie. You watch the plot. I don't know why they do that shit.
there is some
Well,
hope because I heard that they were bringing back a TV series with the original cast,
Huh.
or
Which
something
one?
to that effect.
Which one?
Okay.
With the Harry Potter original cast.
Get out.
But
No.
there's a big but. There's a big but.
Uh-huh.
Well, a couple of them are dead. So
Well, a couple of them are dead, but I'm talking about like the next generation. I'm talking about like Harry and Hermione and Ron and their children. You know,
okay.
like them. You know,
Well,
'cause-
Harry. I mean, Daniel Radcliffe has been doing television. He's been doing Miracle Workers on TNT, which is a great.
He's a
show.
great actor.
And Rupert Grint has been doing Servant on Apple TV Plus, which is a great but spooky show. And he's got a movie coming out, The Cabin at the End of the Road, End of a Lane. No, The Cabin at the End of the World.
and Emma has been killing it with film after film after film.
But she's been sticking to movies. She has not stepped into television at all.
Right, she sticks to films. Like,
well, as Daniel put it, he said, "It's nice that I got to do the big major thing when I was a kid. Now I could do whatever the hell I want for the rest of my life.
Honestly,
I never have to worry about money. I never have to worry about anything. I can just do what I would want to do."
It's gotta be a beautiful thing when you play as an iconic character, and now you can literally do what you want to do within reason, like whatever you want to do. Like Patrick Stewart playing both Jean-Luc Picard and Professor X. Come on, come on.
Yeah.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh,
well, he would like. Yeah, he said he wants to be the next Professor X, and McAvoy said he's done. He's not going to do it anymore. So
yeah.
What I was going to say, I just read a couple weeks ago Beyond the Wand by Tom Felton, his memoir about his time working on the Potter films and being a child actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought, I pointed this out, it was incredible luck that they had. They picked all these kid actors and all but one worked out. All of them worked out. You had one. You had Felton ended up having alcohol problems and drug problems, but it didn't keep him from being able to finish the movies. Only one of the kid actors didn't finish the movie.
Yeah, it was what was it, Goyle or something? Yeah, and they replaced him with a black guy, which I kind of made a joke about that, and I said that was their only opportunity to bring in a person of color because last time I saw one was like the second or third film, and he was like, we don't see him again until How to Get Away with Murder, like.
But I always thought that was very neat how they all worked out. But then he pointed out in his book, when you're paired with the incredible actors that we're working with, you're working with an Alan Rickman and a Dame Maggie Smith and a Richard Harris and even a Michael Gambon. In his case, he latched on to Michael Gambon, and they were really close friends, mainly because they were smoking buddies. They were the smokers on the cast, so they would wrap their scene, and Gambon would say, "Hey Tom, what would you like to get some fresh air?" And they go out back and smoke. But Gambon would hide cigarettes in his beard.
Well, okay, real quick. Diggs, BTW7, what's up, G? Nice to meet you. Whoever you are, we have a friend here today, guys.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this is the Star Trek podcast. We're all over the place, though.
We're all over because we're in between right now, and so we're kind of having strong withdrawal right now because it's like this kind of Star Trek. If I'm correct, normally a Star Trek show will just be like one show one year we're having like 5 different shows with the promise of new shows if season 3 of Picard goes well, which I'm gonna speak into existence that it will go well because I need some more Star Trek. I need
Well,
some
what was?
I would
hold on.
suggest. Go ahead, Keith. Go ahead, man.
Hold on. Let me get the line that was on the cover of the SFX magazine.
Okay.
Because this is something that you gotta hope it ends up being true. Let's see.
By the way, rest in peace, Rick and Morty.
Well, the
It'll be
show,
fine.
the season's still coming out, but yeah, they're gonna try to do it without Justin Roiland.
Too big to fail.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I was to your no problem.
No, go ahead. While I'm looking, you guys talk.
William, to your to Keith's point. Well, sorry, Keith, to William's point. The filler stuff that like just this in between time or whatever. Just listening to you guys talk about the backstory in the comic books and whatever, those narrative structures are, I think, are really super important to the development now and what's going on now. And I would love to continue that conversation. Like, what is the ramifications of the what has been written in these A canon or B canon, whatever, what's going on in the online universe? What is happening in the outer atmosphere of like what we would call canon or whatever, because that sometimes impinges on what we actually get to see on screen and plot points. And I know that like we talk about like what's happening in the show and usually we have all this time, but I would really love to explore more of the narratives that we don't talk about.
Well, I'll tell you that because what Keith and I sort of touched on earlier, but didn't really complete, that some of the comics and some of the other graphic novels, some are A canon, very few of them are A canon, and the rest of them are presumably B canon. So what you have is Keith mentioned earlier that that the one of the ones was it part of the Stargazer series that picks up after season 2.
The Stargazer series picks up after season 2 of Picard. So that's a 3-issue series.
Right.
No, that's they've been doing also a special. This was the Trill special issue. Just a single one-shot comic about the Trill.
Right.
That's pretty good.
That's cool. I like those one-shots.
Yeah, they've done it in the past year. Ferengi, Klingon, and Trill.
Those are awesome.
So yeah, here's the Stargazer series that it's just a separate storyline, but it's supposed to be a continuation between season 2 and season 3 of Picard. Right. And then now we've got the Strange New Worlds Illyrian Enigma that's supposed to be a continuation between season 1 and season 2 of Strange New Worlds, with them specifically trying to go save Una by going to the Illyrians and trying to use them to get information to get Una off the hook, which the Illyrians look at it as they are going to take someone on the ship hostage in order to use that person as a prisoner exchange to get their citizen Una back from Starfleet.
Okay, I have a question about the Enterprise. Okay. So it's been hinted that it was in fact probably damaged beyond repair or destroyed. To some
you're talking about the Enterprise E. I'm talking about Enterprise E.
Yeah. Right. So I don't want to like completely counter it because we don't really know what happened to the Enterprise. We just know that it's a very, very subtle Easter egg, right? Well, the reason God, I sound like Michael right now. The reason I sort of want to contradict it, but not really, is because of how much time there is in between Prodigy and season 3 of Picard. We're talking about, God, like, is this almost 10 years? Like,
it looks about 10, 15 years, but that's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, if you look at, my computer's running so let me try to bring it up on my phone.
Yeah, because between the D and the E, it wasn't 15 years. Like
no, but between the C and the D, it was.
Well, yeah.
I really want to do a structured chronology. This is all over the place now. I want.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Just to answer the question real quick. Yeah. Okay. So we had
Okay.
The 1701 original Constitution class ship.
Kirk ship. Okay.
It started commanded under Robert April, and
Oh,
then
yes.
from April to Pike
I like the
to
new April.
to
Kirk.
Kirk to Spock. Remember, Spock was the final captain,
That's right.
and then Spock died, so Admiral Kirk took command of it to bring it back.
Oh,
and,
wow.
And it was in an operation from 2245 till 2285. 40 years that ship, but part of that had gone through the complete refit when it was under the command of, it went from Kirk to Decker.
That's right, before motion picture. Yeah.
So that was the 1701. That one was destroyed, as we saw in Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. They took the Yorktown, which was damaged by the probe in Voyage Home, and rechristened it the Enterprise A.
I didn't know that was the Yorktown. I had no idea. That was the original ship that Gene Roddenberry was going to use.
The original name that he was going to use was the Yorktown.
Oh my God. How do I not know these things?
I don't know.
This is why we have these conversations, to find out these sorts of things.
Oh my God.
So now that ship was rechristened in 2285, but it was Constitution class, which means it was already going conceivably since 2245 or so, about the same length of time as the other Constitution class ships.
Right.
And that was decommissioned in 2293 after the Battle of Kittimer, when you had the cloaked Klingon bird of prey attacking and did enough damage that they decided to decommission the A. So 2293, that's the end of the A. Okay. Then we jump ahead to the beginning of Generations and the NCC-1701B. Now, it lists here on Memory Alpha as being commissioned in 2293, but that doesn't make any sense because there was definitely time in between Star Trek VI and Star Trek Generations. It looks like there's been about 3 or 4 years at least.
I mean, that's not bad.
Yeah, so they list here at 2293, but they never gave a date in the beginning of Generations.
They just said that it's been 80 years since that day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then you had
the C.
The C. The C was commissioned sometime in the early 2300s. So what we consider the Lost Era. It was destroyed in 2344 at the Battle of Narenda 3.
How many years was it in commission?
We don't know.
Okay.
So
the B and the C are kind of out there.
We don't. In B canon, we had the B go on until it was destroyed in like the 2320s, and then 5 or so years later they got the C. So in B canon, the C went on for about 15 years. So 2344, that's when the C was destroyed. You get 44. The D was commissioned in 2363, 19 years later. So from 2344 to 2363, there is no Starship Enterprise.
None.
Now, of course, the Enterprise D was destroyed in 2371 over Viridian 3.
Yeah, Battle of Viridian 3.
Yeah. And then we get the Enterprise E, but we did not see the commissioning ceremony. And we saw it coming up in First Contact.
Which was about 3 or 4 years after Generations.
Yeah, let's see what Memory Alpha says. Stardate 49027.5. Come on. What are you doing?
While he's looking for it, Diggs, tell us, how'd you find us? Who you be?
Oh, right, yeah, there's someone here.
Who's your people? What's going on?
I think we scared him off already.
No, he's right there. He's that one guy that's watching it. It ain't me.
That's right.
Okay, 2371. Okay, they had it. They say 2372. So it says that it's only a year later. But
a year later. Okay.
yeah, but to say that there was a gap between the E and the F is not outside the realm of possibility, as there had been a 19-year gap between the C and the D.
Okay, I'll give you that because that does make sense. Because I was going like, does it really be that long? And then if you think about it, it does make sense because between between Voyager and the hint of the Voyager A, that's been quite a bit. Like, you know, but then again, we
Yeah.
don't know if the Voyager turns into a museum or if it was destroyed or if so.
Oh no, they would have destroyed that ship. That would have been it. Well, first of all, it would have gotten studied because of not
All the
only the
data.
advances that they made with Delta quadrant technology, but the technology that future Janeway brought back.
Right.
Yes, temporal investigations would have had a field day with that one.
I mean, because they wouldn't have been able. They probably had to conceal a lot of. You were talking about the well, the prime directive probably wouldn't apply to Starfleet, but like, but as far as like the temporal prime directive,
Well, the temporal prime directive definitely
it applies here because you can't really use. They probably had to find some other means of making the Doctor mobile, and then they probably had to find some other and then they probably had to conceal the armor that Admiral Janeway brought back. Because honestly, if they would have implemented that throughout Starfleet, baby,
well, we've already seen evidence that they didn't, because we saw Voyager return to Earth, but Nemesis came after Voyager. You don't think the Enterprise E would have gotten that particular improvement?
That Sovereign class would have handed it to Shinzon's ship. Like, really would have transphasic.
Considering the Voyager was able to fight back against regular Borg ships, and the Scimitar was a Riemann ship, but it took Borg and Romulan technology to construct. So
I thought that was the mining ship, but they pretty much just recreated it and used the mining ship. Because when I read Countdown, that's what I read that the Romulans did. And Romulans have a knack for using Borg technology. I'm not gonna lie to you. They have a knack for doing that.
Well, you got to remember they are devious as hell out. So
they are. They really are. It's just like anyway. But okay, we got like 9 minutes left. I'm actually surprised how we managed to get through all this.
Well, it's because we went all over the place. It was not just Star Trek that we covered, which, I mean, it happens.
It literally happens. Last week was all about DC.
Last week we talked about the next book that's coming out, which is the autobiography of Benjamin Sisko. I'm trying. Hold on, let me see if Simon and Schuster has something else coming out. Simon & Schuster continues to hold the license for all Star Trek books. So they have available now Star Trek Prodigy Supernova, animated series book, trade paperback, and then they have another one called A Dangerous Trade. Picard's Second Self came out last year. So totally in the Picard series, you've got The Last Best Hope, which I haven't read. It was excellent. Dark Veil, which is from the time of the Titan, with Riker and Troy. Rogue Elements, which is the Rios book, and No Man's Land, which was released as an audio drama with Seven and Raffi. Then you have the Discovery series, Desperate Hours, Drastic Measures, Fear Itself, The Weight of the Stars, The Enterprise War, Den Endless, Die Standing, and the most recent one, Wonderlands, which takes it up to the 31st century.
Right.
Let's see. The most recent ones they have listed as Rogue Elements.
Manny, it looks like you're frozen again. Yeah, he'll be back.
Okay, so there is the Strange New Worlds book coming soon, The High Country. And then what is this? Star Trek Harm's Way by David Mack. Captain Kirk and the crew of the Enterprise go in search of a missing Federation scientist. All right, that was an all new from the Vanguard series.
This is completely unrelated, but I saw some images on Twitter of the Odyssey class Enterprise F, or not, probably meeting up with V'ger, what looked like V'ger.
That's from Star Trek Online. That's from Star Trek Online.
Did V'ger come back?
Yeah.
Why?
I think it's Mirror V'ger.
Ooh.
because they're doing a lot of stuff with Mirror right now. They had Will Wheaton and Gates McFadden both have recorded audio for them for their characters in the Mirror universe.
In the Mirror universe, I hope Wesley is like hot in the Mirror universe. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Hold on, let me see if I can find a picture. Well, I know in the Mirror Wars, it had him with spiky hair and kind of crazy.
Yeah, that sounds like some teenage shit. Like give me when he's in his 20s. That's what I want. Like
It's Memory Gamma.
okay.
I was right. I didn't realize there was Memory Gamma, but yeah, there is. When I came up with Memory Delta, I'm like, oh, Gamma must be something else. But yeah, I was right. Okay. Not finding the pictures, right? Okay, they have him as with a beard.
Yeah.
A Star Trek Online Ascension. That launched on September 13th.
Oh dear God. That's
he's Terran Emperor Wesley Crusher.
What?
Yep.
That don't make sense. What did he do?
No, it makes some sense because in the Mirror Wars, we had an attempt by Picard to take over the Empire, and only in the end for Riker to stab him in the back and Riker to become Emperor, with Troy at his side. Okay, I shared the link to the Trek movie article from September about Terran Emperor Wesley. So it's possible that Riker took on Wesley as his protege, and he eventually rose up to replace him.
You know what? Of all the things, and you're right, I take that back. It does make sense because they did Wesley so dirty in the Prime. They did him so dirty. It only makes sense that, which probably, if you really think about it, Wesley was probably the guy that restarted the male Emperor line before the Alliance took over.
No, this is after the Alliance.
Wait a minute. So the Alliance falls?
This is
yes.
Deep Space Nine. This is a reborn Empire.
That's right. The Terrans take back.
The Terrans take it back?
Yep.
But they're sweeter. They've reformed.
Yeah.
Oh, they've reformed. They're reformed because they've been infused by the Federation. I forgot.
But the comics picked up basically wrap around the Deep Space Nine Mirror episodes, but it has basically the Terran Empire coming back to form.
Okay, so clearly, while we have 3 minutes left, I am going, when this whole financial debacle is over, I'm going to order a giant beanbag, and then I'm going to order every new comic that came out within the last 5 years. And
go to IDW and get them all electronically, because then you don't have to worry about ones that are back issued and out of print. But you can get them all electronically and sit there and read them on an iPad and have them all in one place.
I'm here for it. I'm going to get an iPad too. Or maybe my phone. Maybe I can use my phone, you know.
Yeah, you can use your phone as well.
Exactly. Because I need to, I'll have the understanding that it's B-canon and I'm cool with that. But I just need to know, like, how does Wesley be a badass finally? Like he's a badass now. Like, you know, but like, you know.
Mirror Wesley?
He's a traveler.
Mirror Wesley, yeah.
Well, Mirror Wesley is the.
I feel like they travel within their own universe.
Well, like, it's hinted at that they travel to alternate universes, and in Star Trek Year 5, that series, they covered a little bit more about who the observers are.
I need to know why, after Deep Space Nine, did the Prime universe and the Mirror universe begin to separate? Like, what point made that happen? Like, what change made that happen? Because it didn't have a problem for the last 2 years.
No, we know exactly what caused it. It's called the Big Bang, William. It was this moment when the universe exploded out, and it's just the basic rules of quantum mechanics.
Galaxies, though, that's not different universes.
Yes, it is.
Manny, go back out and come back in. I need you to join this one. Okay. This one. Okay. the Big Bang is supposed to be the expansion of different galaxies, and it's supposed to go out, go out,
No,
go out.
it's of the universe, but the idea that universe is separate as well, it makes sense when you consider just the
But
basics of quantum mechanics on
it's
it.
deeper than universe. It's talking different timelines.
Yeah.
Manny, go back out and come back in real quick. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'll sit here and wait.
We need the scientists here. Like, we need the scientists here. Because I need to know. I need to know. What the hell? Okay, I see the link right here. Thanks. But oh my goodness gracious. All right.
Well, it was
Okay.
introduced in
Go ahead,
Discovery.
Manny, please.
Okay. Yes, Big Bang, right? That's causality, it's the prime mover, it's all the thing, but it's deterministic. So you can have a bunch of Big Bangs, you have a big crunch, you can have
Mhm.
No! No!
All right, I get what you're saying with the big crunch and the big freeze, the two possible endpoints of our universe. Big crunch being the idea that the universe will reach a point where then it will then crash back in on itself.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah. We're having a transporter accident, folks. I'm gonna let him. I'm not gonna say shit. I'm gonna let him finish his point.
Yeah.
If you believe it, I'm gonna let him finish his point, and then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna watch this show with my cousin. So, like, come on, Manny, come on back, come on back, come on back, come on back, come on back. Just one more. Well, you have the floor, brother. You have the floor. I ain't gonna say shit, and that's hard for me. I guess that makes sense, but I didn't think that it would be like different. To each universe is essentially a different timeline, if you really think about it.
Yeah, but
I didn't think that they would expand out too.
well, not if that it makes perfect sense when you consider just the way of things. I mean, it's not just because it's maybe a parallel timeline, it doesn't mean that it's going to stay perfectly parallel. The separation between the two would get wider and wider because there would be offshoots of those timelines in and of themselves. As we saw in Discovery Season 3, you had a parallel universe to the mirror universe because you had Giorgio go back into an alternate version of the mirror universe where the assassination attempt was foiled.
Oh,
And she took out.
I thought that was just a whole construct, like just so she could pass a test or something.
Well, it was a test, but it was as Carl, the Guardian of Forever, said that it was an alternate version of the events, so it was an alternate timeline, offshoot of the mirror universe.
So even the mirror universe had a parallel universe.
Of course, the number of universes is infinite, as seen in the episode Parallels from season 6 of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh yeah, parallels. Yeah, definitely. We saw the Federation get assimilated by the Borg. We saw we've seen Wesley be security chief for no reason. You know.
Yeah, hell, on the ship where Worf is the first officer.
I will even argue that the time capsule episode in Voyager was meant to be. It's okay, man. And we got what you were trying to say. I will even argue that the time capsule episode in Voyager is actually a mirror universe episode, and those events really did happen, but it came from a different timeline.
The time capsule episode?
Mm-hmm. With the doctor. The one where the copy of the doctor's program was found after so many years.
Oh yeah, Living History. Yes.
Living History. Yeah, I think those events really did happen. And
Warship Voyager.
Warship Voyager. Because I'm going like,
well, no, that's just the classic of history that the victor tells the story. So
true.
To them, I mean you had the alternate story of the past being told. And I mean, we have that in our own society where we're being told absolute lies, and people take it as the truth because they don't know any better.
They don't know any better. Yeah.
Well, I've had this conversation a few times with several members of the older generation. What were we taught about the first English colony in the United States?
It was a lie.
No. What happened to the first English colony in the United States? Roanoke.
Oh, tell me.
Well, it was You had English settlers coming over in the late 1500s and settling on an island in what is today's North Carolina, right by Nag's Head, Kitty Hawk, that area. Uh, the island now called Manio, but it was the Roanoke colony. You had the leader of the returning to England to get supplies and gets stuck and can't return for years later. When he returns, he finds the village abandoned, and the only sign of anything is the word Croatan carved into one of the trees. Now, that led to the myth of the lost colony. And that went on, that was taught in school. That they put on plays at the the site where the village is. They built a stage and they put on plays called The Lost Colony, perpetuating this myth that we have no idea what happened. Croatan was the name of the local Indian tribe. They joined the tribe. They intermarried with the tribe. It was never a mystery.
They just joined them.
Yeah, but
I never heard of that. I never heard of that story.
Eurocentrism led to us being taught that
That they
we don't
were
know what happened to them.
or that the Indians came in and killed them or something.
Yeah, never thought that they, joined and were assimilated into the tribe.
I ain't gonna lie to you, I would not have seen that coming. Like, because I thought it was
Well, that's because part of the indoctrination you've had in how we've learned history in this country.
right. Wow. They just
I
joined.
everything is taught from an angle.
Uh-huh.
And understanding that angle is part of learning our history. Obviously, because the Union won the Civil War, when we look back on the Civil War, we're going to be seeing it from the standpoint of the Union victory. And up until a certain point, there was the Lost Cause movement that was started in the Reconstruction era after the war, this idea that the Confederacy wasn't really defeated and that one day the South will rise again. And then we had the Ku Klux Klan and we had all the monuments and everything. And that went until only the past few years where it started to get pulled back. And I remember sitting in a classroom in 2005 pointing out that the first Confederate monument had just been commissioned in Montana. Montana, which was not a state, it was a territory during the Civil War, and was nowhere near any of the fighting. But that you had this strong push to remember the South and to try to paint the noble Southerner and this lost cause that there was something more. It was states' rights. It wasn't slavery. It was just a different way of seeing the war
from a different angle. Yeah.
And of course, I'm not saying this to push any one political viewpoint or another. I'm just saying that there are different ways to look at history. And some schools, we in a certain way have been taught, and others have tried to teach a different way. And unfortunately, what we have in the country right now is you have people that have let politics and their viewpoint color the teaching of some of these facts. Like in the case of Texas rewrote their history books to have the history books have a more favorable view of the Confederacy. Now, that wouldn't be that big of a problem because, okay, that's just Texas history books, except for the fact this is Texas we're talking about. So they have a corner of the market on textbooks that all of a sudden Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, those states are going to buy that textbook. So then you're not worrying about it just being Texas. Now it's all of those states. And so you have to worry about these political viewpoints blocking what we learn about history. So when you look at living history, it's a case of the victor writes the stories.
It's his story.
So they're going to paint it the way that makes them look the best.
Right.
There was in Star Trek Year 5, you had a moment where Spock got sent back in time to the time of the Vulcan Civil War.
Ooh, when they were full of emotions.
When the logicians under Surak were fighting back against the emotions of the group that eventually left Vulcan to go settle Romulus and become the Romulans.
God.
And Surak had re-education camps. Surak, the great magician, had concentration camps on Vulcan.
Shit.
Yeah, and they did this in the comics in Star Trek Year 5. And they were able to do this complete review of Vulcan history that we were only seeing it from the most noble, the most positive efforts. But we had gotten that glimpse in Enterprise of Archer flashing back to Surak and seeing the nuclear war that was happening between the logicians and the emotionals, what would become the Romulans. So you see that there's a way of changing the history to make one side look better than the other, when both sides could be bad, or just taking away the little things or the not so little things that the good guys have done.
Shit.
I mean,
yeah.
I had a history professor at American University who taught the horrors of us having dropped the nuclear bombs. That Harry Truman, the United States, should forever be, shunned because of the fact that we used nuclear weapons on an unsuspecting populace. We bombed cities, we bombed civilians to try to bring the war to an end. And I argued with him all the way up to even after I graduated that there was still a necessity to having used the nuclear weapons to end the war.
Yeah.
My biggest evidence being that we needed to use 2 of them. One didn't get it done.
2 of them did it.
Yeah.
And
there was going to be a third too, but the second one did the trick.
The second one did the job. Well, where was the third going to land?
Tokyo.
Ooh.
Yep.
Ooh. Oh, that would have done it.
Mm-hmm.
That would have done it. That would have turned them into Romulus after the supernova.
Oh, killed the Emperor. Yeah.
And it would have been done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there would have been a Japan after that.
It would have been in a lot worse shape than it is now. But that's playing What If. That's Manny's show. Let's leave that to Manny's show.
We're 11 minutes over, and guys, we are going to or guy, hi to that one person. We are definitely going to go into a deep analysis of the trailer that's going to be coming out on Sunday, the 29th. Now, I'm not a football person, but as soon as it gets out there, I'm going to watch it at least 10 times and cry.
At least.
At least 10 times, because there's going to be more Easter eggs. There's going to be, because it's just, I can't even contain myself.
I'm calling it right now. There's going to be something in the trailer that we don't know anything about right now.
Oh yeah.
Somebody returning, something happening that we haven't even gotten hints at. Because in the teaser, we got the introduction of who the bad guy is. We found out that Lore is coming back. And we found out that Moriarty is coming back. We got the Titan A. What are we going to get in this trailer that we haven't already gotten?
Because we've seen everyone from the main cast of TNG so far.
Yeah, we've seen Riker both in uniform and out of uniform.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen we know that Beverly Crusher is the but she's the person who sparks the plot. Her going missing
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Picard loves her. He ain't gonna let that happen.
Yeah. So we know those details, but we have been hinted that there are more people from Next Generation that may appear, and of course, we've been hinted that there are more people from Deep Space Nine and Voyager may appear. You said you want Garrett Wong, and if he might, who knows? We might get a Harry Kim sighting.
If he's captain, he needs to be captain at this point.
He's an ensign on the Titan A. I'm calling it.
I swear to God, if Seven makes a joke and calls him ensign, I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna scream. I'll be like, you know what? I already forgive you for season 2. I already forgive you. All right.
Well, I was trying to find it, but there was an article. The reviewer for SFX magazine said pretty much this is what we've been waiting for from Picard. The promise of what Picard would be, we are finally getting it in season 3. And he said this will put this will shut down the keyboard warriors. that
they're challenging us. I'm here
yeah.
for it.
Now
Okay.
we had the reviews of season 1 and season 2 that we got beforehand were all of the first 3 episodes. And if you go back and just watch the first 3 episodes of seasons 1 and season 2, they're good. It's just 4 through 8.
But because they filmed this at
people-
the same time that they did season 2, they had a chance to watch the whole season.
Well, yeah, the understanding that we seem to get for the reviews that are out is that they've seen the full season. So, yeah, all 10 episodes. And of course, Terry Matalas has said that someone will die, that people will not make it out of this season alive.
No, because I was really thinking who from the TNG cast is going to go, and it better not be Marina. It better not be Marina. I swear to God.
Well, she has hinted at that she wants to do more. Patrick is probably done. I wouldn't be surprised if Gates is done.
Because they hinted that not only are we going to get a Seven and Raffi something, we're supposed to get a Troy and Riker something. Like,
well, they're hinting that something could go on after this, and whether that's the anthology show Tales of the Federation that Akiva Goldsman was talking about,
right,
where these guys have part of it, whether it's a short treks thing,
right,
or if it's their own show, that's also possible. We just know that we have so much Star Trek coming this year. We are in the dull point right now. But once February 16th hit, after that, it's all gravy through the end of the year.
Okay, they can take Laura. Laura's human now. Let him die. Like he, bye. Like, who else? I don't see Geordi going. I really don't.
Well, we do meet Geordi's daughters in this season.
Yeah.
And Terry Matalas did say that you have a passing of the torch to the next generation. And the only people we know so far of the next generation is Geordi's daughters.
So do you think Seven is going to be like the captain, and then we got this rest of younger generation? And
well, we've already seen she's called Commander, but she greets them when they arrive on the ship, and she's sitting in the captain chair on the Titan A, which is just now that bridge is a redress of the bridge that they used for the Stargazer. It's just a slightly expanded version of the Stargazer's bridge, which is understandable because it's built at the same time, so they would have similar things. But the L-cars have been updated. It's a new 25th century style L-cars.
Okay, so we're not in the TNG era L-cars anymore.
No, we are now. It's 2503. No,
that's right. We're in the
2403, 25th century, 2403.
25th century now. So
yeah. So we are now. If it wasn't for Discovery jumping to the 31st century, this would be the furthest into the future of a Star Trek. So you got Lower Decks is concurrent with Nemesis, and post Nemesis, post Voyager, and then you have Prodigy picking up 5 years after that. Then you have Picard picking up 10 years after that. So the battle that of the living construct was 2384. So it's very possible that 2384, the Enterprise E, was destroyed in supernova, and that we have an Enterprise F. Now, and Terry did not say that it's going to be a brand new Enterprise F, so it's going to have been around for a while.
That's what I'm saying, because I saw all the fireworks and stuff, but I would wager that Enterprise F has been around for a minute.
Yeah,
it has.
Now, in Star Trek Online, it was 2409 that the Enterprise F was commissioned, but Star Trek Online is now its own other thing. It is now as Memory Gamma is the Star Trek Online thing, so that is the G content.
That's just a different timeline.
So now we got alpha content, which is TV, movies, and some of the comics. B content, which is some of the books and some of the comics, and some other things. G storyline is the gaming.
Okay, so what's the D? What's the Delta?
Well, that's the podcast that I was supposed to launch at some point. I just haven't had the time. Well, if I would have launched that right now, we would have nothing to talk about in these episodes. So.
You sure we wouldn't? All right. We're 18 minutes over, and we really could go on, but I'm gonna go ahead and exit this. I think we already gave our last and final thoughts, guys. Make sure you tune in this Sunday, not to hear, but to the in between football game, because I don't watch football. I'm just gonna wait till it hits on YouTube, and I'll be ready. Like I'll be ready after church. I'll be like,
Yeah, be sure to be watchful. It'll be on the Paramount Plus channel. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be out there. And we'll be talking about next Thursday night. So make sure to like, share, comment, give us your thoughts on what you expect to see. Give us your crazy idea of who's going to show up in this trailer. I mean, we're saying Vash, we're saying Denise Crosby, we're saying Ensign Kim. Who do you think is going to show up in this trailer that we haven't talked about?
Who do you think? Who do you think? Because honestly, I already know I'm going to cry. I'm going to scream. I'm going to blow up the group chat saying, bitches! anyway, also it's been scheduled that this Monday another episode of Fight the Patriarchy will be coming out, and this Wednesday another episode of What If will be coming out. They've been scheduled, so be sure to like and comment, but mostly subscribe to Trekkers Delight here on YouTube, and live long and prosper. See you guys.
This is one of the
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not going to ever say it on the internet. Yeah, never. yeah.
I'm sorry. Wait. There was a shadow of a church.
Okay. What?
William has questionable
I didn't
ideas
catch
about
that
what he
one.
puts. William has questionable ideas about what he puts on the internet.
Oh, I remember that episode.
Uh-huh.
I remember that episode. Yeah.
Wait. What?
We put on an audio version of this podcast.